Thank you, Jerome. Morning, everybody. How are we today? Good to see everybody. Hannah, nice to see you. Cheryl Sunday, my old classmate from Unity. Everybody here, it's good to see you. Life is good, I presume, has its ups and downs, its challenges. When I hear that song, Bridge Over Troubled Waters, I'm reminded of all the times I've had in my life where I just didn't think that I'd ever get through them. Problems, challenges, setbacks, even tragedies. And I heard that song then and I hear it now, and it's almost like the bridge is there. It is like that bridge is whatever our concept of higher power is, and if we step forth, it will move us beyond whatever attempts to hamper our peace of mind and our sense of well-being. It restores within us a sense of serenity and a sense of confidence to move forward. I guess to a certain degree we call that God. And God is just such a mysterious thing. I mean, God can rile up within people a sense of repulsion. It's like, I don't want to hear that word because it was pounded into me as a child, and the concept that went with it just wasn't believable. Other people hear God and they're full of anger. It's because they lost somebody prematurely, and it's like, why did God let that happen? Other people hear God, they discount it altogether, and they say there is no God. Other people hear God and they say, yes, God is everything. God is it all. Well, for thousands of years, people had wondered where they came from, what they were here for, how they existed, what was the creative force that brought everything to be. And there was absolutely no proof, no physical evidence of what that was. So it was a mystery. And a mystery of that magnitude is very difficult to live with. How can I not know how I came into being? And so not being able to live with the uneasiness of not knowing what the great creative force is, man invented God in a way that made sense. And, we hear God created man in his image. Well, man created God in his image. Man created this God of an old man, which was revered in society, a mighty man with the long white beard and long white hair, sitting on an imperial throne somewhere outside the universe, looking down on all of his creation and determining who was pleasing and who was not pleasing, and then exacting a punishment for those that displeased him. And it was this image of God that held for thousands of years. It was the top of the hierarchical pyramid, so to speak. It was God, and then it was man, who was made in the image of God, and then you had women, children, and the rest of nature. But, I mean, you have to give them credit. If man is going to invent God, it would be pretty stupid of them to invent God as a woman, don't you think? I mean, they had everything they could do to maintain and control women, and all of a sudden they're going to say, woman is a god? No, even though she is, I guess. Yeah. I was getting a lot of blank stares from you women out there, like, how's he going to work his way out of this one? So anyway, there is this image of God that travels on for thousands of years, the old man on the throne looking down, and they came up with two characteristics for God. God is omnipotent, and that means all-powerful. God is all-powerful, no power greater God. And God is omniscient. Omniscient meaning God is all-knowing. God has all the secrets of the universe. God knows everything. God is all-powerful. God is all-knowing. And this image of God continued, and it persevered for, as I said before, thousands and thousands of years. And then in the early to late 1800s, a fundamental movement came up that said the Bible should be taken literally. Literalism came about in the 1800s. Before that, the Bible was taken as allegory and as stories and as lessons that can be learned through parables. But in the 1800s, this group came forward, the Bible should be taken literally, and every single thing in it should be followed. Well, in the Bible, God has certain characteristics that aren't nice. You know, God is in favor of one army, not another army, which allows the other army to get wiped out. God is mean. God punishes. Poor Job. I mean, God gets in a bet with the devil, and all of a sudden Job loses everything just because God is trying to prove that one of his beings has faith. And so, to counteract that fundamental literalism, there was another movement of mind or movement of thought that began to bubble up. And it was by some of the greatest minds in the country. I mean, we have Emerson and we have Thoreau, the Transcendentalists. And our founder, or co-founder, Charles Fillmore, was one of these people. And these people got together and they began to question exactly what this theological thought about God was. And as part of the questioning became, what if God isn't a man? What if God isn't on a throne out there someplace? What if God isn't punishing? What if God isn't a revengeful God? What if God isn't a jealous God? What if God isn't a deity separate from us, but God is it all? God is in, through, and around every single thing that exists. Now, they readily agreed that God is omnipotent, all power. There is one power in this universe that underlies everything. We know that for sure. That has been scientifically proven. There is one power, a spiritual realm, so to speak. It is like you take the entire universe and you drop it in a vast ocean, and the water permeates everything. Our universe has been dropped into this realm of spirituality, or energy, as the scientists say, everywhere present. And that's where they got in trouble. Because the fundamentalists said, well, God can be all-powerful, and God can be all-knowing, but if God is everywhere present, to the Jew, that meant God is in the Muslim. To the Protestant, that meant God is in the Catholic. To the Baptist, that meant God is in the drinker. To any opposing lines of thought, it was like, well, if God's in me and God's in that person, then that's not my God, because my God is exclusive to me. My God is going to save me because I believe in that God as it's written in my scriptures. And so that's where this whole problem came about. So you had the fundamentalists lambasting what we call the New Thoughters, that this new thought about God and about spirituality. You had the fundamental people lambasting them, and on the other side you had science saying there is absolutely no proof that what you are thinking is true. You can't show me your God. You can't show me this ever-present field of spirituality. You can't show me anything. You can't show me your soul. You can't show me your spirit. Therefore, it doesn't exist. If we can't measure it, if we can't detect it, if we can't identify it, it doesn't exist. Yet you had people like Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, who had this deep intuitive feeling that that was right. He didn't need proof. He didn't mind being lambasted by people that tried to disprove it. Inside, he knew. He had this inherent faith that what he believed was true. And he stepped out on that. Much to great criticism, much condemnation, much resistance, he stepped out on that belief and boldly claimed God is everywhere present, all-knowing and all-powerful. He went on to build everything that you see here, everything in the Unity movement, 1,000 churches all over the world. He watched his wife, Myrtle, cure herself of a terminal disease simply by meditating. She called on the power of spirit within her to heal the cells, the tuberculosis cells within her, and she went on from having a 6-month life prediction to living another 50 years, all based on faith. Pure faith. And we talk about the bridge over troubled waters, that bridge is invisible. If you're on one shore and there's troubled waters keeping you from where you want to go, which is a place of peace and love and harmony, you've got to take that first step out, and you will find that bridge that will carry you over. But you're never going to get it in a state of fear, in a state of anxiety, standing where you're standing. So all of this went about fine. Unity would continue to build. The fundamental movement continued to build. Science continued to look for or detect something that would prove what the New Thoughters were thinking. And with Einstein's theory of relativity, it completely collapsed their notion because it didn't fit into that Einsteinian box, so to speak. And if it didn't fit in there, it wasn't real. It was just the product of an over-imaginative mind. Then in 1964, a physicist named Peter Higgs came forth and said, there is evidence that there just might be an ever-present energy, what we call spirit, energy that is surrounding the furthest stars in the universe, and it's also present at the subatomic level of our bodies. It was almost like he was predicting, yeah, there is spirit. There is that spiritual realm. There is, if you want to call it God, fine, I call it energy, but that does exist. Well, other physicists of the day, including Einstein, said, no, you're way off base. Don't even go there. But after 48 years of diligent research, and they were able to detect that particle in the spiritual realm that transforms the invisible into visible. It transforms spirit into matter. At one point in time, each and every one of us was an idea. We had a pattern, we had a blueprint, a spiritual blueprint, so to speak, an invisible blueprint in the realm of spirit, and it is from that blueprint, that pattern, that plan, that we came forth into physical manifestation. But we just couldn't come in as matter. There had to be some sort of a design to us, and each of us has our own unique and individual design. And Higgs discovered that. Now, July 4th, they announced that they discovered this particle that transforms the invisible spirit, and I'm using spiritual terms, not scientific terms, into matter. And that was an incredible discovery because every single thing exists in the spiritual realm. Everything that you see here began as an idea, as a pattern of some sort, and it manifested into physicality. Everything starts there. So if they discovered this bridge between the spiritual realm and the physical realm, that means that not only does matter, does it define how matter comes to be, but also they can peer into, once they advance their technology, and detect what is in the spiritual realm. If the spiritual realm holds everything, the idea for everything that has yet come to be, it also holds the idea for everything that will be. And as we begin to move into those areas and discover, we will find the answers to some of our biggest problems. It's like this week, Iceland announced that they had found a mutant gene in 1% of Icelanders, and that mutant gene prevents dementia or Alzheimer's. Now, it's always been there. It's always existed in the spiritual realm, so to speak. The idea for that, the framework for that, and it's just either manifesting now in physical form or we're just able to detect it. But what an incredible discovery. You know, for all practical purposes, 50 years from now, Alzheimer's will be very much like other disease that we've cured and corrected and they no longer afflict us. So how does this apply to you? Well, you are a spiritual being. You have that invisible part of you that can't be seen, it can't be touched, it can't be heard. It is just there. And it's from that spiritual energy, that consciousness, that your physicality, your humanness came forth. So you are a dual aspect person. You're a spiritual being and you're a human being. The spirit needs the human being to express in this world. The human needs the spiritual part of him or her to provide attributes that allow us to live a comfortable and fulfilling life. So we're at this point that God is, or spirit is, everywhere present, that everything comes forth from the spiritual realm in design, manifests in physicality. Not only that, but spirit provides for every living thing what it needs to live a comfortable and fulfilling life. Ants have incredible talents and attributes that allow them to live a successful life as an ant. So does the bird, so does the snake, the fish. Every living thing on earth has been given what it needs to live a comfortable and fulfilling life, including us human beings. It is that spirit is within you. It is that which you have come forth. And it is there to provide for you whatever you need, whenever you need it. Now, once we held to this belief purely through faith. Remember, Charles Fillmore didn't have microscopes. He didn't have laboratories. He didn't have a scientific research team. He strictly stood out on faith. And now, some 85 years or 100 years later, science says, well, yeah, they were right. How they knew it, I don't know, but they were right. And so even though the science backs it up, it still calls on us to have faith to move forward and to draw on those spiritual attributes we have when we're really in need. When you're facing a difficult problem and you're under a tremendous amount of stress, you can endure that and trudge through it, or you can say, wait a minute, I have within me the potential to solve this problem. I can get the direction I need if I turn inward. As Jesus said, if you seek, you will find. If you seek, you will find. But it's not going to come to you in the riverbank if you stand there and do nothing. The troubled waters are going to keep you apart from that which you want. If you recently lost your job and your livelihood is at stake and you don't have financial security, that can be a very scary position to be in. And you can sit there and worry about it and fret about it and wonder all the horrible possibilities that might happen. Or you can say, wait a minute, I have within me this spirit that is all providing, and I can draw on that spirit and it'll give me direction, it'll give me the power, it'll give me what I need to move beyond the situation. And it's always there, it always provides if we seek it out. The three primary characteristics of God is omnipotence, all power, omnipresent, everywhere present, and omniscient. Now then, at one point in time, man made God in his image. But then there's also the turnaround of that we are made in God's image. Well, what does that mean? It means for each of us individually that we are omnipotent. You are all powerful when it comes to you. You have full power over your thoughts, and your thoughts create your reality, and your reality is the life experience you have. You have full power over that. Nobody can get inside your head and ignite a hate button or an anger button or a fear button. You can listen to people, let them influence you and go with that line of thought, but you are still the underlying power. You are all powerful when it comes to the thoughts in your mind. Then omniscient, all-knowing. Nobody knows more about you or how to live your life than you do. When it comes to you as an individual entity, you are all-knowing in that. You have the wisdom, you have the senses, you have the intellect, you have everything you need within you to determine how you're going to live your life. You are all-knowing when it comes to you. You're all-powerful when it comes to your thoughts. You're all-knowing in regards to what you should do and how you can live your life in a way you desire. And lastly, you're omnipresent. You're everywhere present. Any one of you right now can leave here, get on a plane, go to Egypt, and there you're going to be. You're going to find yourself there. You can fly to the moon, and you're going to find yourself there. There's no place you can go where you aren't. Right? So you're omnipotent, you're omniscient, you're omnipresent, and when you put your faith in that and say, yes, I believe that, I am the power, I am the control, I am the God of my universe, and I am interacting with the God of other people's universes, and together we're moving forward to advance the comfort and the style of life. So there's one power and one presence in the universe. That one power and one presence is spirit. It is energy. It is everywhere present. It is in you. It provides for you what you need when you need it, if you have faith in it. And that's where this whole thing ends. If you don't have faith in it, it's never going to appear because you're not going to believe it's there and you're not going to seek it out. It's all about faith. Do I have faith to take that next step where I can't see a bridge, take that next step into troubled waters, and know that there's going to be a bridge there for me to take me over? Do you have that faith? That's what is necessary. That's what is needed. Your faith has to be so rooted, it has to be so strong that no matter what evidence to the contrary comes up, you know what you know, and nothing is going to deter you from the path that you decide to take. As we move into meditation, we're going to talk about faith this morning. We're going to have some music once again like we did last week. I don't know if you care for that or if you don't care for that. Let me know one way or the other. We're just kind of experimenting here. But as we move into meditation, take a deep breath and just slowly exhale. Allow yourself to be very comfortable. This is your time to rest easy and to just know that the higher power within you is there to serve you.